if we look at what Chisano is talking about, when you talk about a Pan-African movement and on democratization, it requires proper leadership and commitment for us to achieve that. In Insight, what were some of the key leadership qualities and strategies that played a pivotal role in Sierra Leone's democratic advancements? And we've heard what we've been told. It's a process, and every process requires that commitment. What lessons can you pick from Sierra Leone that you think are useful for us to get Africa to that Africa that we want to have in terms of democracy?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. From my personal experience, I was elected president in 2007, just a few years when the civil war, the 11 years of civil war ended. And we had a country that was completely devastated. Government was not functioning all over the country. The infrastructure was down. The social services were absent. But the key thing was that we were just coming from war. And the fear of a relapse was very much around. So that is why when I came into governance, I was very clear with what is expected of a leader at that point in time. Because as we have said, democracy being a journey, and knowing that all of us are in different stages in the journey in Africa, depending on our backgrounds and our initial leaderships. My focus was to ensure that we consolidate the peace. That was key. Because if there is a relapse, we will not be able to reconstruct the country. We will not be able to build the government institutions. We will not be able to attract investment both within the country and out of the country. So in a situation like that, you have to ensure that every member of the society feels part and parcel of the government. That inclusivity was key. Not only being included, but the people should feel that their views are heard and they are part of the decision-making process. So these, along with other programs of rehabilitation and reconstruction, laid the basis of us moving forward. Now, to do so or practicalize it, I ensured that even members of the opposition were given space and participate in the governance system. In all my travels out of the country, and even within the country, I ensured that I included members of the opposition and members of the civil society and other groups so that they will be seen. I remember when I visited the UK, it was then Gordon Brown that was Prime Minister, and Alistair Darling was the Chancellor of the Exchequer, so was Minister of Finance. We visited the Exchequer, and whilst introducing the members of my delegation, I introduced the leader of the opposition in Parliament. And Alistair said, "You're traveling with the leader of the opposition?" He said, "That is an inclusivity that we have not gotten to. I mean, even in the UK, I cannot do that." But that is what was required at that point in time. So when we got to the position of having confidence, the people having confidence, because we adopted the Open Government Initiative, the Open Government Partnership, taking the government to the people, visitations, asking public questions to public officials, and gradually we restored that confidence. The dividends from it were that we are quickly recognized by the World Bank, IMF, and other institutions as being a country that has reformed itself. And because of the reforms effected, we attracted more support for our development endeavors. And also, businessmen within the country had confidence to invest their resources to businesses, and you see businesses springing up. And we also succeeded in attracting the highest foreign direct investment that the country has enjoyed. And quickly, we are recorded as the people that reformed, and at the time we left, we were about the fastest growing economy in Africa, and a country coming from war. By the time I left office, we were the most peaceful in West Africa and the third most peaceful in Africa. So these are the dividends that you will realize when you open the space. We talk about opening the space for the civil service, civil society, the youths were involved in the government. We established a youth commission. We adopted the gender legislations that will empower women and give them some sense of ownership, even in our cultural setting. So these are all the issues that I believe you should focus on, and that is where leadership comes in. I think in all of what we are talking about democracy, if you don't have the leadership that will create the environment for democracy to thrive in a country, it makes it difficult. When my second term was coming to an end, there was a cry that you have to ask for an extension, continue, you have some programs to continue and finish up. But I was very clear that the Constitution must be respected. I should not go a day beyond the time that I've been given to me by the Constitution. And so it was not even an issue. A third term extension was not an issue. So we focused on it, and I believe that that is a way of laying the basis for a democratic setting. And we will continue to share this experience and spread it out so that with that we'll be able to have some kind of an understanding in Africa that will take us to where we desired to go. Those of us that those countries that have experienced the war comes from a very difficult position. It's a very difficult managing and trying to navigate to get out of the great difficulty that may lead to a relapse. And when there is no peace, democracy is thrown away. Thank you.
At the same time, is tolerance in leadership is key to ensuring everybody is on board. And for you, Your Excellency, Hail Marian, of course, during your leadership, you faced a challenge in managing the diversity. What lessons can we draw from Ethiopia's experiences, especially when you're managing that diversity and of course, the political experiences that you had to deal with? Of course, it was quite a complex situation. And this is not only unique for Ethiopia. If you look at most African countries, we are dealing with political complexities that are sometimes getting quite unmanageable. And then the diversity actually made worse by negative ethnicity. So what can we pick, or how were you able to manage that can help us to get to that dream of us having a democratic Africa?
Thank you very much, our moderator. First of all,